Can you, John, talk about the role of suffering in your life and how it's been a teacher for you?
When I see suffering happen now, I can recognize what it is and that it's a tool for teaching. We all have been disconnected in one or more area of our life, but there's a way to get put back together with Jesus Christ.
We are so happy to have John Mabry on the Inspiring Families podcast. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to get to be here with you.
I want to sit here and learn your story.
Well, you got
from scratch.
You got a little time?
Got some time.
You got some time? All right.
Let's do it.
All right. So, as a teaser for the audience, do you want to hear how I went from living in a small town called Bulverde, Texas, to acting in the movie Superbad and partying at the Playboy Mansion with Adam Sandler?
Let's do it.
And then ended up in a double-wide mold-infested trailer on the banks of a river with a roommate named Beaver. So,
let's go.
We go through all that?
Let's go.
All right, let's go. Buckle up for the journey.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, born and raised in a small town in outside San Antonio. Had a really great family, supportive family, loving family, Christian family. So my grandfather went to school, Bible college with Billy Graham. He and Billy Graham were friends throughout their entire careers. Okay. And so had kind of Southern Baptist raised, and Grandpa preached for the most part at Trinity Baptist, at First Baptist Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 35 years. And like Billy Graham sent flowers to his funeral, and we have letters from Billy in the 50s. And so growing up in that kind of environment, I was baptized by my grandfather when I was probably about 11. So I had what I would consider a firm or a solid upbringing in values, not knowing I was going to go off the rails with 20 years on and off drug and alcohol rehab, drug and alcohol abuse, which ran my life into the ground and nearly killed me multiple times. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But from an early age, I just always felt like restless, irritable, and discontent in my own skin. And that's what they talk about in 12-step recovery, is that restless, irritable discontentness. And I always felt that from an early age, and really learning decades later in trauma therapy that it was from these ear surgeries I had as a kid. I didn't know medical trauma was a thing. It actually is. And so from early childhood, I had a bunch of ear infections, and I ended up having to fly out of state for a couple of surgeries. One of them being eardrum transplant and prosthetic bones in my ear. Okay. And so I just... It was really terrifying going through as a child, being wheeled away from my parents and being, the center of attention on these medical surgery tables with lights and doctors probing you with masks on, and, got anesthesia and wires coming out, somebody else's body part put in my head. I mean, that had like a real kind of psychological effect on me, that I have somebody else. I'm so bad that I have to have somebody else's body part put in my head and prosthetic bones. Like I'm just.
What age, John?
So that big surgery was probably 12. 12
years old.
Probably about 12, yeah.
Formative age.
Yeah, kind of middle school age, and and I just, so I've been cut behind my ear 3 times. If I showed you the scars back here, and I just, it painful, a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. It was just gross, a lot of blood and pain, and it was terrifying, really. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I could put my finger on it, because it really set the tone for how I reacted to things later on in life. Because I just always had this, something's inherently wrong with me. I'm just broken.
But the first 6 years of your life, you were on 9 acres, just kind of living your best life.
Yeah, outdoors, running around. We grew up. Our neighborhood had the Guadalupe River outside San Antonio, huge, beautiful river with like rope swing into the river, and went on tube trips and tree house, and we had a pony for a little while. Yeah, and so it was a really surreal environment looking back.
And then 7 to 12, was it the same kind of experience? And then all of a sudden at 12, you've got this surgery that kind of came out of nowhere?
Yeah, well, I had tubes a couple of times, some smaller minor surgeries from like probably age 6 to 10 or 11. I had these kind of smaller ones, repair a hole in the eardrum. They were just kind of minor, but then when it took it to the next level when you're talking about a transplant.
And then at age 12, you started believing what about yourself?
That I was different, that I was broken, just something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
I'm off.
Okay.
And so I started overcompensating. Mm-hmm. I became the class clown. Mm. And another important point is, since I was about 3 years old, I was nicknamed Crash. I was just thrill-seeking, always.
Adrenaline.
Yes, adrenaline-seeking junkie. Mm-hmm. Didn't like authority. Didn't like people telling me what to do. I'm going to do my own thing.
Strong-willed.
Get out of my way. That's what I'm going to do. Don't tell me. If you tell me stop, I'm going to do it even more. Yeah.
Okay.
And come to find out, I learned hearing the word crash over and over again almost set an expectation that I was supposed to be crashed. I was supposed to get hurt. I was supposed to go through medical stuff. And it's interesting how unpack that in therapy years ago as well. It's kind of like this expectation of like, oh, I'm supposed to get hurt because I had this label of this is your name, this is who you are, this is your identity, is your crash. And then come to find out, I ended up, getting a prosthetic leg, and he manifested stuff from childhood.
Then 12 to 17, can you cover some of those years?
Yeah, Mr. Social guy.
Yeah,
you
still
sports and the social guy. I loved basketball, football, and high school. So in high school, my goal senior year, was to get class clown. Probably more so than graduating. It's like, even if I don't graduate, no. And I had decent grades, but just class clown's my goal. Yeah. And being the overachiever that I am, and if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it all the way. The addict in me it's senior year at prom. They had superlatives, right? Yeah. And so I got class clown. It's like, yes, got the class clown. Check that one off. Didn't know I was going to get 3 more. I got most outgoing, most school spirited, and best personality. And when I was talking to my trauma therapist years ago here in Nashville area, she said, interesting, you were class clown, most outgoing, most school spirited, and best personality, but you felt defective, broken, insecure, unfixable. I was like, oh, my whole life I've just been overcompensating for how I felt early on in my childhood.
So then the drug use started when?
Not till after a major accident.
Okay.
Major accident. So I ended up going to college. Undergrad was in communications at Baylor University. Just went up to Baylor. Yeah. 3 hours up the road from San Antonio. My parents went there. A cousin that went there, family members, and had a great experience. Did the fraternity thing. And life was manageable. I had gotten a full ride scholarship for doing video work for the athletic video staff. Okay. So as communications major, I really wanted to go into sports broadcasting. It was my first love. And so I was working for the sports athletic team, and I got the same scholarship that football players got. So imagine, I'm a senior. My senior year, I got this full ride. Same scholarships football players get to film sports. It was great. And so I had that set up. I was social chairman of my fraternity, so I was setting up events with sororities. Nice. Right? And I get to interact with the sororities. Let's set up an event with the ones I want to set up with. With the girls I wanted to meet, I could do that. So I had some control there. And then I was dating a cheerleader who became our fraternity sweetheart. And it was an honor at the time when your girlfriend gets chosen as the fraternity sweetheart. It's like, all right, that's kind of cool. So life, it could not be going any better. And March of 2000, my senior year at Baylor, it all upended.
So you were 21, 22?
Yeah, around 21, 22.
Can you take us there to that incident?
Yeah. Life throws things at us that we're just not prepared for, and I was not prepared for stuff you see in movies, absolute horror and trauma and the crashing of metal and glass. So we're driving back, we're going back to Waco from a spring break trip. I had set up a spring break trip being the socialite that I am. I set up a spring break trip out of a cruise out of New Orleans. I got to go for free because I had signed 35 people up, so I got to go for free. So here we are on Booze Cruise 2000, March of 2000, 35 of us going out of New Orleans, go on this booze cruise. Life couldn't have been going any better. Coming back to my full ride scholarship with my cheerleader girlfriend in the car with me at the time. There's 4 of us in my friend's car. We're outside of Houston on I-45, outside of Houston, going back to Waco. Beautiful day, sun shining, 75 degrees. Friend has the cruise control set on 70 miles an hour. No drinking or driving. Couldn't have been any more innocent. And a right rear tire blows out. Okay. Now, I don't always share this, but I'll share it with you. Okay. So the accident was part of the Firestone Ford Explorer debacle. Okay. Where in 2000 they recalled millions of Firestone tires. Wow. Knowing tread was separating off the Firestone tires, coupled with Ford Explorers, they were rolling, killing people. They were covering it up. Gotcha. So we were one of those victims. So the tread separates off the right rear tire, being a faulty Firestone tire. We didn't know it. Car starts shaking violently, and right then it's like the whole world, my whole life just started flashing before my eyes. I saw things as like a film reel, like an old film reel, and I saw this film reel coming to an end. When that film reel comes to an end in old films, I just felt like my life was going to this was it. And so I braced myself for, this is the final moment. I'm going to die right now. This is it. And the car just starts shaking violently, and we merged toward a median, and as soon as we hit the grass median, we did like a 180, and then just started rolling. We rolled across the median, across the other side of the interstate, missed oncoming traffic into basically a field.
Okay.
You talk about 7 seconds that'll change everything. I saw it all happening.
7 seconds that changed everything.
Just from the tire blow it out to when we stopped, it just world flipped literally and figuratively upside down, crashing just the metal. And I saw it all happening. It was just like it was in slow motion. My legs got out the window somehow, and I saw my legs getting crushed as I tried to pull them in. And realizing years later in therapy how the body keeps the score. You've read that book where the body just holds that trauma, and I did that for decades. I held that trauma in from that. I got to save myself. I have to survive this moment, and all that trauma got stored in my body. And that's drug abuse and alcohol abuse came in to help soothe that.
Right.
But at the time, it was just survival mode. You get just clench and just try to survive. And I saw it all happening, and the car comes to a stop upside down. And I'm thinking, I got to get out. It's going to blow up. It's going to blow up. It's going to blow up. That's what happens in the movies. So I go to stand up to get out of the car, and my foot was dangling at the bottom of my shin. And so my foot wrapped around the bottom. Like I could see the bottom of my foot as I'm just kind of putting weight on my shin. And I just throw myself out of the car and crawl out as quick as I could. And I look back, and all three of my friends are still in the car. So I had a decision to make. Do I stay there, or do I go in and help and potentially die? And so I said, if I sat here and I just watched this car blow up and I wasn't trying to help, that wouldn't sit well. So in the middle of the trauma, I didn't feel any pain. It was just shock, but it was like survival mode. I'm going to go save somebody else if I have to. If I die, I die. So I crawl back in, got one person out. She crawled out, and the other two, one was, the driver was kind of pinned in from the car crashing in on her head, and her boyfriend up front was tending to her. So I was like, all right, he's got her. Two of us got out. Okay, two of us are safe. As you sit back and watch things unfold, it's almost like you're in third person. It's like your out-of-body experience. You see,
Associated, thank God.
Man, you see cars pulling over, traffic stopping. You got witnesses stopping, children walking around who saw the car just rolling. So the witness reports say we rolled between 6 and 12 times. I lost count at like 3 or 4. I don't remember, but it was pretty chaotic. You got police coming in, fire, ambulance. It all kind of just, and Jaws of Life come out. It's serious when Jaws of Life come out, and they go over to the car, Ashley Furman. So my friend who was driving, they take the Jaws of Life and open the car up, and it's just like more metals crashing, and there's just sirens everywhere. The traffic stop, you see it backed up for miles, and then a helicopter comes in. You're like, God, what the hell has my life turned into? I didn't sign up for this. Nobody prepared me for this. Yeah. So they pull Ashley out of the car, and I'll spare the gruesome description, but it was not pretty. Head trauma. They take her away. And at the time, it was, everybody kind of forgotten about me. I was laying there outside. They had put a blanket over my lower body because it was pretty mangled. Yeah. My legs were pretty mangled. And I was just in shock, just kind of watching everything unfold. They were tending to Ashley at first, and then she gets taken away, and I was like, hey, guys. Hey, I'm over here. So I started screaming. I just go, And they're like, oh, we got this guy. And I specifically remember that when they came to get me to put me on a stretcher, that there was one EMT lady that had to just hold my foot. And so there's one lady who was just holding my foot just to get me onto the stretcher, and my foot just flopped over. Get on the stretcher, put me in the back, take me to the first ER, do some initial x-rays, no spinal cord injuries or anything, no pain medicine. And I asked for pain meds. I said, no, we need to make sure you don't have any other injuries that pain meds could cover up. Take some x-rays. They take me to the largest regional hospital, which is College Station, A&M. So they put me in an ambulance to transport me over there, 45 minutes or an hour, I don't know how long. And I'm in the back of the ambulance, and the guy was like, can I get some pain meds? And he was like, they haven't given you anything? And I said, no. He picks up the phone in the back of the ambulance and makes a phone call, and he's like, yeah, you're right. They haven't given you anything. I was like, it's been like 2.5 hours, no pain meds, just sitting there in misery, man. So I finally get to the hospital. They'd called my parents. In the meantime, I had 2 friends from school come and meet me in my kind of waiting area, kind of holding area. And funny story where my priorities were at the time. I'd just gotten these new Austin Powers boxers. Austin Powers was real big at the time. You know,
Nice.
I'd just gotten them in New Orleans a few days before. I'm wearing these boxers, and a lady comes in, and I had two friends in the room, and she said, "Hey, look, all right, we need to cut your clothes off, get you ready for surgery."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Well, we need to cut your clothes off, get you ready for surgery." And I said, "You're not cutting these boxers off. I just got these Austin Powers boxers yesterday." I said, "You wait till you put me under and you can rip them off my bloody feet. I don't care what you got to do, but you're not cutting these boxers up."
You were bonded with your boxers.
I want these boxers.
Forget the foot.
So I ended up going to, like, I don't know, 5-hour surgery or something. The first thing I wake up and my mom's standing bedside, I didn't ask, like, you know, did Ashley survive? Did they cut my leg off? My first question was, did they save my boxers? She goes, what? I go,
Great.
did they save my boxers? And they did.
Great.
They did.
That's great.
So anyway, get taken to College Station, have first initial surgery, wake up, my mom's bedside. And so, you know, I was in such denial at the time of how bad things were. You just, again, not prepared for stuff like this. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go back to school, and my parents were like, what are you talking about? Like, you're coming home. Like, and I was like, no. I lived upstairs in this house. It was like 8-bedroom house with 8 guys. It was our frat house. And I was like, no, my friends will, you know, my fraternity brothers will carry me up the stairs, and I can use crutches. And they had to have the chaplain, the Baylor chaplain, come drive to College Station to stand bedside and go, hey, I'm here to pray for you. I'm also here to let you know you're not well. And it was just kind of a theme for my life of I needed somebody with some authority I've needed somebody to really look me in the eye and say, you're not well.
You're not well. You're not well.
Yeah. And I will continue to push things and say, I'm fine until, my body's mangled. I had, screws and pins put in and plates in my feet. And really the worst experience there, I remember those initial surgeries before I got moved home to San Antonio, was the debriding process. So every day they would come in, first I get shots every day in the stomach for blood thinners and, you know, all the things. But they would come in and purposely rip the bandages off my legs to pull the scabs off, to create fresh tissue and fresh healing, to keep infection down. And I remember just sitting there dreading all throughout the day. They wait till like late afternoon to come in and rip these bandages off on purpose to create fresh blood. And that was really traumatic, having to sit through that. And again, there goes that trauma getting stored in the body, all that pain, just kind of store that away in the central nervous system. And
So the recovery time is the rest of your life. Right?
still doing it. Here I am, 25, it'll be 26 years this year, so March 2000, this March will be 26 years since the accident, and I'm still dealing with leg stuff. I just got done with 2 surgeries on my healthy ankle.
Yeah.
Got screws put in my ankle 4.5 months ago.
Can you, John, talk about the role of suffering in your life and how it's been a teacher for you?
Looking back, I can sit here and honestly say I'm grateful for the suffering, but when you're in it, it sucks.
Oh my goodness, it does.
When I see suffering happen now, I can recognize what it is and that it's a tool for teaching. Okay, instead of trying to resist it and push it away, I've learned tools to be able to say, all right, bring it. It's almost like even today, I was struggling today with I may have to have shoulder surgery. I was struggling after a doctor appointment, and I was able to just go. All right. It's almost like bring it. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, I see what you're trying to do, devil. I see you trying to throw me off. I see you want to get in my head and you want to throw me off track of what God's doing in my life, what God's done in my life to redeem me from a person that I used to be. And so now I can see the attacks coming, and the suffering is part of like the growth. Like, come on, bring it.
And can you talk about when drugs became a crutch and an addiction for you?
Yeah, so through the accident, and this was in the early 2000s when they weren't regulating, the narcotics like they do today.
Yeah.
So I had free reign. I mean, it was like, that was the heyday for, pharmaceutical companies, for Purdue Pharma. That was the heyday for OxyContin and all that. So I was like,
Yeah.
I got everything I wanted.
So you
and
were
more.
taking how many pills a day?
Gosh, I don't know.
You don't even
I don't even remember.
maybe.
But I mean, it was managed at home with my folks. I was living at home. I had to leave school. I mean, I had to move. So lost my scholarship, lost access to my friends, my social life, classes, all those responsibilities and things. That world I had built up to be really perfect. All went away. And my mom's helped me get to the bathroom and changing my urinal out multiple times a day because I can't go to the bathroom on my own, and going to doctor's appointments. And so I ended up having 14 procedures that year. Not all were surgery; they weren't all under anesthetic for surgeries, but I had some nerve blocks done and some really, really painful stuff going on that year. Even I had taken one of my abdominal muscles out. I had a hole in my foot, so they had to take one of my abdominal muscles out and attach it into my foot. Took skin off my hip, did a skin graft, and ended up cutting it off anyway. So not only did I have body parts transplanted in my head, now they're moving my body parts around, and ultimately decided to amputate a year after the accident. And so those painkillers at first were it was manageable.
Okay.
It was really when I got back on my own, when I got back out of the house, back to school, and when I had my first job out of college, that's when things started to go, when I had less accountability. That's when things got kind of more out of hand. Those pills give me such a euphoria that I felt like I could just conquer the world. And that's what I set out to do. Is like after this accident, I was like, I'm gonna go show everybody I'm fine. And you know what? Somebody told me this was really powerful. When I had a friend tell me early on, right after the accident, like within days, was like, good thing this happened to you, John, because you're the kind of guy that can handle it. No, I couldn't handle this. And so it set this expectation that I wasn't allowed to break down, that I wasn't allowed to ask for help because I'm supposed to be able, it just set with me, I'm supposed to be able to handle this, because of my personality and my drive and my get up and go-ness. I was like, okay, I can handle this. But
so you learned to push.
Yes.
Keep on pushing.
Yeah.
And then an anesthetic for your pain. Right, because you weren't really able to feel your feelings, I'm guessing.
No feelings. I couldn't feel the physical pain. I would just pop a pill, go, pop a pill, go. And then I couldn't focus because PTSD. So I wasn't diagnosed with PTSD for a decade.
Okay.
Duh.
32.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I also wasn't being honest in therapy when I was going therapist. I was just, everything's fine. But I went out to conquer the world. I decided to have my leg amputated March of 2001.
Okay.
Walked the stage 6 weeks later at Baylor to get my diploma on a temporary prosthetic, and then spent less than a year in Dallas working my first job, and I moved out to San Diego to get a master's in counseling. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go take this and try to help other people.
Okay.
And again, just kind of pull myself up by my bootstraps. I'm going to go conquer the world. I moved out to San Diego away from everything I knew in Texas, all the support that I had, and then I isolated out in California by myself, essentially, with access to pain pills. Then Adderall came onto the scene when I couldn't focus because of PTSD that wasn't diagnosed, and I'm drinking with the pain pills. And then I was like, hey, let me just, so Adderall might help. And next thing you know, I'm abusing Adderall. So I'm rotating between those three substances on a pretty consistent basis, able to doctor shop.
So how long did that go on?
From about 2001 till 2011.
10 years.
Before I got help.
Before you got help.
And then I got help and I relapsed, and it wasn't pretty, but I'm grateful to be 5 years sober now. So,
Nice.
Yeah, 5 years sober now. But, yeah, for a good decade, it was chaotic.
So 5 years sober.
Only by the grace of God.
Back up just a little bit. So you were in California, and what were you doing there?
So it's San Diego. I was going to grad school for master's in counseling.
Okay.
And one thing I was doing was avoiding my own stuff, where I could help people learn how to deal with their stuff. But it was like, I can deflect and not look at me. Let me help you with your problems. Talk about what's going on. And so I didn't have to deal with me.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a form of avoidance, I guess. Even though it was packaged as helping people.
Right.
And then I'm working for a nonprofit that helps raise money for people with physical disabilities to get them access to sports. So I was around some of the most elite disabled athletes in the world. I was around some of the most elite able-bodied athletes in the world. Golly. We had 2 athletes win the Arthur Ashe Award for Courage at the ESPYs.
Okay.
So I was backstage at the ESPYs with The Rock and Peyton Manning, and Oprah narrated one of their films. One of the guys that won the award narrated their documentary. So she flies in to present the award. And so when you're around people like Oprah, and it was fun. it was fun to get to be a part of it. Raising millions of dollars for people with disabilities was really cool. So doing I started doing triathlons for the first time in my life. Next thing you know, I'm at Malibu Triathlon, kicking butt and going past J-Lo, little J-Lo there. I was like, see ya. So I was doing some great work and some great schooling. But I got to the end of this, had gotten married to somebody I knew at Baylor. She moves out. And I ended up getting to the end of this master's program, and I was really terrified because I was like, I'm supposed to go out in the world and help people? And I knew I hadn't helped myself. I knew this whole time I was avoiding me, covering up with substances. I didn't know I had a problem. I didn't know that I was addicted to anything, still just denial.
Yeah.
And then I get a call that changed things again. And I was coming back. I was making a huge comeback here. Not only did I get my master's degree, I was raising money for, disabled sports. And then next thing you know, I get a call to my cousin got cast as the lead role in the first TV show about the war in Iraq.
Okay.
So he's going to play the main guy in the Army, first guy in the war in Iraq, and he's going to get his right leg below the knee blown off. And he calls me up and he goes, "This is my biggest role I've gotten yet. It's a massive production with FX." And it's a big deal because the war is just kind of getting going in Iraq, and they're going to make a TV show about it. And it's controversial whether they should be doing it this soon or not. But they're doing it anyway, and I'm the lead guy. Can you take me through, hey, Cousin John, can you take me through what you went through in your car wreck? Because I'm going to lose my leg on a roadside bomb. You had your leg injured in a roadside car accident. I said, sure. So I started telling him kind of what I went through and what the experience was like, what I just kind of described to you, and he was kind of using that as character building, so that he could get into character with it. And we're about to hang up the phone call. I said, what are they going to do for your leg shots? And he goes, I don't know, probably computer. I said, well, let me know if you need any help. I'm just going to throw it out there. And several days later, I get a call, and he goes, hey, yeah, they want to see you. I was like, ooh, they want to see me? Somebody wants me? So I drive up to L.A. They're doing boot camp. They got military guys taking the main actors through boot camp before the show gets started. And next thing you know, they're like, you're hired. You're on. We're going to hire you on for the 13 episodes. You're our technical consultant, amputee technical consultant.
Okay.
So body double for my cousin. Mm-hmm. Press gets a hold of it. My cousin's got a team of PR guys and management and all this stuff. Next thing you know, we're in People Magazine. Mm-hmm. When Access Hollywood comes out, does a story of us on set, and here I am rolling. And I'm like, all right, roll up to the set. I'm just I don't have to memorize lines. I don't have any stress.
Show that leg.
All I did, and there was scenes literally where we'd have my cousin's face, and I would slide my foot in with the camera angle, and it would look like it was his foot.
Okay.
And it was like, man, this is the easiest money I have ever made. So it was awesome, and I was back. I had arrived back in life, and being a kid who wanted to go into sports broadcasting, initially wanted TV work and going through communications and the film classes and stuff. It was all like, it's all coming together. Mm-hmm. My purpose has been revealed. This is my purpose in life, is to be a leg body double. So I took a bad situation, turned it into good, and moved up from San Diego to LA and got a little agent, started submitting for auditions and driving around town auditioning, all along popping pills and drinking, sometimes on the way to an audition. As soon as the audition was over, I'd go to acting class, and I had an acting teacher be like, are you okay? Are you on something? I'm like, no. And so it was prevalent underneath the surface, and I tried to cover it up, but I don't think I was doing as well as I thought I was. And so that one series just lasted one season, so it got canned after one season, and so ended up just finding some little jobs here and there, a little scene in NCIS and ER, got a little scene in ER, and the big one that people love the most is Superbad. And at the time, I auditioned for it. I didn't even care if I got the role. I just wanted to get in front of that casting director who cast for all Seth Rogen and Michael Cera's stuff and Jonah Hill. And so I have one word in the movie Superbad, and it's a jog past Jonah Hill and curse at him on the track. He's huffing and puffing, trying to jog on this track as a high school student, and he's like, man, this is crap. And I come jogging by and just, see ya on my prosthetic leg. So I got one word, but it got me. It's gotten me some decent checks over the years. I still get some residuals on that.
Good.
They get smaller over time, but that was a really fun set to be a part
Very
of with
fun.
Seth Rogen. And
So you finally got sober 5 years ago. I'm curious how that happened, and then your journey till now.
So I just gone to the party at Playboy Mansion with Adam Sandler and Bruce Willis and Emma Stone and all these people, and I thought, this is it. This is the pinnacle. When you get to the Playboy Mansion with these A-listers, and it really just went all downhill from there.
Okay.
So right after that experience, I found my brother dead from an overdose, and moved here to Nashville to get away from L.A. And I just brought me with me.
And that was how many years ago?
That was 16 years ago.
16 years ago, okay.
And so got in with Dave Ramsey. And going back to, I needed somebody in an authoritarian position to tell me I wasn't well. My addiction had progressed to where I was working for Dave Ramsey and literally popping pain pills and drinking at my desk while calling churches on behalf of Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
And that's where my addiction took me, with little children at home and a wife, and it's I hate saying it out loud, but that's where I was, and I'm not there anymore by the grace of God. But I got called into Dave's office, and he just sat me down and said, "Look, you obviously have some problems, and so I'm going to let you go so that you can go get the help that you need." And so ended up in 5 rehab centers in 7 years, and learned some tools along the way. But it was, man, that's hard. It's hard on the family. That's probably my greatest regret is the toll it took on my immediate family at home. But by the grace of God, had access to some resources to be able to get help.
Yeah.
And
Can I ask you a question? Which one was more painful, the physical pain or the emotional pain?
Oh, the emotional pain. Yeah.
Can you say more about that?
It's like the prosthetic that I have just shows people that I have a physical disability, but the internal the disabling events of my life and that we all experience, like the internal, I think, anguish that a lot of people feel, go unaddressed because people can't see it. It's not visible. And I'm fortunate that people can see that I've been through some trauma.
Yeah.
But I think so many people have been through so much in their lives that they just covered up and it's not visible. And that was absolutely the hardest part, is the unloading of feelings. One from past traumas, from childhood stuff, and then the trauma of the accident, and then there's always stuff unfolding. Then there was the divorce, having to work through losing access to my kids and all that. And now today even, I met with an accountability partner last night to talk about stuff that's going on. Like, it just continues to unfold, but I have tools now to work with those feelings, to share those with somebody else and not bottle them up and hold them in. Yeah. So yeah, the internal angst is an ongoing thing I have to kind of continue to unload.
So 5 years ago, you're working for an addiction treatment center or centers, and what happened where you realized, like, I'm powerless?
And so I go through divorce, right? And I'm living in a sober living house. After working for an addiction treatment center, hosting a podcast on addiction, I'm living in a sober living house for 7 months and getting that ego kind of in check, but still felt like I was running the show because I knew the owner. I got half price off. Like, I just worked my angles like I always do my whole life, manipulating people. So I get out into my apartment for the first time, living on my own, first time in my life. And I'm doing drug tested almost weekly for 3 years, breathalyzed every time before I have to see my kids. And so had supervised visits at first. It sucked. And I was still trying to beat the system. I was still trying to run the show, even when I had lost a lot. And I had a relapse on my birthday with my children. I had my children with me alone. And he was 12 at the time, and he comes up to me and says, "Dad, Mom's coming to pick us up." I said, "Why, buddy?" He said, "Because I smell alcohol in your breath." And it was like, I saw what a loser I was through his eyes. These little 12-year-old eyes just going, "You're such a loser. You can't take care of us. I got to take care of my little siblings because you can't. So Mom's coming to get us." And so that's when things changed.
And you were how old when you got sober, John?
43.
That's 40 years before my dad passed. And he went to his grave and never had a day of sobriety. So I want to say thank you. I was that little girl with an alcoholic father. And he never got well. So thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. sorry you had to go through that, man.
What I would give to see my dad sit in 12-step recovery meetings and do the work. It would have changed my entire life, John. Truly. I have sat in open AA meetings and watched, because alcoholics are the funniest people on the planet.
Oh my gosh.
They are the funniest people on the planet.
I love us.
And so I will sit in open AA meetings and just listen to the stories of these old timers and pretend that my father could have done that. Because I know that he could have. He was the funniest person on the planet. Because of my work as a child therapist, I have the privilege of seeing life through the lens of a child. And I just want to deeply say to you, thank you for doing the work at 43. Thank you.
Thank you. It's hard.
So hard.
It's hard.
So hard. So hard.
It's so hard to.
And so needed. And I'm curious what you would say to a young person who's experimenting with drugs or has high risk taking behavior, thinking that no tragedy will ever happen to me. You know, like, what would you say to a young boy that doesn't have the long-term consequences, like the brain is not developed to know truly what a long-term consequence even is? Mm-hmm. What would you say to a young person?
I would say, as hard as it is to try to seek out a mentor or multiple accountability people in your life. And a lot of times it can be a parent, but so I have an accountability partner that's an 18-year-old.
Nice.
He is well beyond my years in wisdom in.
That is fantastic.
In ways of the Bible and the way Christ wants us to live our lives in ways that I'm not. And I've been humbled enough in my life to go, whoever God's going to put in my life for me to use, I'm going to lean on that person. And I have an accountability person in my life that's 18 years old that's teaching me stuff that I need to hear. And so I love that. I wish when I was younger that I had a mentor that challenged me and pushed me, because I always wanted to run the show and do my own thing and skirt authority. Here's a secret of life for your audience.
Okay.
The hard way is the shortcut.
The hard way is the shortcut.
I shorted things my whole life. Cheated on stuff, lied, cheated, stole to manipulate to get my way. And it just took me years of rehab and hundreds of thousands of dollars on therapies and stuff. And I mean, I've flown to Bali and I've laid with gurus in huts in Bali to seek help for my problems. And it was like, all I had to do was do the hard work from the beginning. Mm. That was the shortcut.
And that was the
hard
way.
And as a younger person, if you have a coach or a mentor or somebody that's Christ-centered, that's leading you, that you can go to on a consistent basis, I wish I would have had that. And I have that now, thankfully. And now I get to be that for other people. It's pretty cool.
And if that young person finds a coach or a mentor and has a propensity to hold back and not tell the whole truth, what would you say to that person?
You gotta shine light into the dark areas. Otherwise the mold just grows and grows and grows and takes over.
We're as sick as our secrets.
Yes. Yep. We are as sick as our secrets. So whatever you hold back, it's going to come back and get you at some point. Mm-hmm. May not be for a couple of decades or whatnot, but whatever you hold back is going to come back and get you at some point.
Yeah.
So it's better to just...
my father was constitutionally incapable of being honest with himself. And that's really the test of someone being able to recover. And it sounds like you hit that wall and decided to get fully honest with yourself,
Yep.
So the last 5 years, I'm curious, what are the lessons that you've been learning? Plenty of them.
Yeah, they keep coming. But joined Celebrate Recovery. That was a big game changer for me.
Okay.
Is doing the AA 12-step thing, gave me tools, and I still attend meetings, mm-hmm. and I have an AA sponsor, but I also have a Celebrate Recovery sponsor as well. Mm-hmm. So it's actually the same guy. He's in both programs. Okay. So it's really great. I appreciate his support. But I came crawling into church. So I'd put on, after my divorce and after this last relapse, I'd put on 55 pounds. I wanted to die. I didn't want life to go on. I was lower than I'd ever been in my entire life. And I called a friend over. He's a member of SEAL Team 6, lives here in town. He was there when they took down bin Laden. Chris Pratt played him in the film about taking down bin Laden. And I called him over to my apartment. He kept it so simple. He just said, everybody loves a comeback story.
Everybody loves a comeback story.
And I was like, wait, this is the grand advice of a 20-year Navy SEAL veteran who's been around the world on multiple, oh, you've been there with bin Laden, man. And he just goes, everybody loves a comeback story. And I took that and I was like, all right, got back in the gym, started working out. So it started with working out, moving my body. When you move your body, you move your emotions. And so I started getting back in the gym, started working out, learning lessons of it doesn't happen overnight. Changes don't happen overnight. It's small, consistent decisions over and over and over again, diet and exercise. Got Celebrate Recovery, started doing what they do is a step study program. It's a year-long step study program. Okay. So you work the 12 steps with a group of men over the course of a year. So I went from doing my 12 steps with a sponsor one-on-one over the course of a few months maybe to doing the same 12 steps with a group of guys over the course of a year. So it was more substantial. And you're hearing other guys share their stuff. And I'm like, oh, now I heard that guy. Oh, that guy's dealing with that? He's sharing that? Man, all right, if we're going to be that bold in here, okay. All right, I was going to hold this back, but I'm willing to share that now. So we all just kind of fed off each other. Next thing you know, at the end of this year, you've been through spiritual warfare together. We all know each other's stuff, and I had this core group of guys. 6 months go by, they asked me to lead a group.
Nice.
So I co-led with another guy. Next thing you know, I'm the guy who wanted to die 2 years before. Now I'm leading a group of men through a year-long step study program. Like, what? How does this happen? Just by the grace of God. So I was like, they asked me to do it. I was like, all right, you say yes. So I learned to say yes to things that scared me, that I didn't want to do.
Talk about how you got into motivational speaking.
So yeah.
And I'm curious how you feel about the fact that God wants you here. Like, God clearly wants you alive and here. He wants you here.
It does, and
It's made that now perfectly clear.
And I feel it today. Today, in this moment right now, I know God's got me here for a reason. And this moment I saw this moment years ago. I could see these moments of me sharing my story more for the grace of God, for God's kingdom years ago when I was at my worst. So if somebody's sitting at home in the worst depression they've ever been in, and they're in substance use, or haven't dealt with their trauma, there is hope. And I found it in Jesus Christ. And I'm here today because of him.
I became a Christian at age 12. I was given, I'm 51, so I'm just going to tell you my age. There was a yellow Walkman with a cassette tape with an artist by the name of Sandy Patty. And she sang a song called Via Dolorosa, which was the story of Jesus walking, to give his life, for a ransom for our sins. And I remember memorizing how long it took to rewind the cassette tape to be able to play the song again. And I would rewind the cassette tape to play that one song again over and over until the cassette tape broke. But then the next morning, there was a preacher by the name of Ernest Angley. He had this black toupee, and his head would do this, and his toupee would kind of move around. And he would say to put your hands on the screen and say the sinner's prayer. So I looked behind me to see if anybody was watching, and I put my hands, I was 10 or 12 years old, put my hands on the screen and said that sinner's prayer. So I'm curious, when you say your relationship with Jesus, what does that mean to you?
So that means listening more than I talk. Because I've talked a whole lot of crap in my life, and I'm able to sit in quietness today.
Silence.
Yeah, and be okay. Even when things aren't great. I mean, the last 2 years I had my leg, I almost had my leg re-amputated. I've had multiple surgeries on my ankle. I've been in a wheelchair wheelchair crutches for 10 of the last 22 months. Chronic pain, major pain, almost having my leg amputated again, losing my mother and my grandmother all in the last 2 years.
Wow.
And I've been able to sit in that and know that I'm okay.
The peace that passes all understanding.
Any one of those things I would have been drinking and drugging before. They all came together in a 2-year period, and I'm still sober today. It's because I'm able to just sit and be okay because God's
Yeah.
Because I have constant conversation throughout the day.
Yeah.
It's not just like the Hail Mary prayer when something's going wrong. It's
A
like
relationship with your higher power that you
Mhm.
choose to call God.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you travel and speak, what's the primary message?
So I got to speak. I had a great honor in September and a couple months ago to be able to speak at Whataburger's National Leadership Conference.
Nice.
It was really cool. And it's a Christian-based organization. It's
Okay.
founded by a Christian couple. 75 years. It's their 75-year anniversary. So it was a real honor to speak at their 75-year anniversary. And so I brought in one of my new messages, which is everybody loves a comeback story. You know, and I built all this stuff up, and I said, the greatest comeback story ever told is not my story. It's not even the story you're writing for yourself right now, and the comeback story that you're going to have, you know, to the audience member. But it's a story of Jesus Christ coming back. So another message that I share with audiences on a regular basis is disconnection and being disconnected from our feelings and from our truth and all those things. But so normally when I'm on stage, I have pants on. Nobody has any idea. I'll go through all the stuff that I've been through in Hollywood and all this stuff, but they don't know that I lost a leg. They just know I was in a car wreck. And so there's a reveal point where I'll have a zipper in my pant leg, I unzip my pants, and I just show my leg, take my leg off, and say, you know, we all have been disconnected in one or more area of our life. We all have had, you know, disabling events in our lives that have crippled us. But there's a way to get put back together with Jesus Christ. He can put you back together. He's the spiritual prosthesis you've been needing your whole life. So.
Wow. John, how can people follow you, reach out to you, connect with you,
Yeah.
learn more from you?
I would love to hear from anybody that needs some support. JohnMabryConnects.com. John Mabry Connects on social media is the best way to find me. And especially if somebody's looking for a speaker, let me know. I'd be happy to come in and deliver a powerful, meaningful message.
Mm-hmm. I'm grateful to have met you.
I'm grateful
I
you.
feel like I've known you a long time.
I know. We get each other. I get
So
you.
good to see you today. Thank you for coming.
It's an honor to get to be with you today. Thank you. Thank you for your platform and for what you do.